So we have 8 messaging apps, and we're going to evaluate how well those APIs are designed from a usage perspective and how RESTful they are. A REST interface should have URIs that identify resources, so like messages, chats and things like that make it easy to semantically understand what's going on and make it easy to use. And we're going to do that by showing you a curl command on the screen, as well as the response that you get. And that curl command will be to send a message. And that's the only one we're looking at. So no getting messages or anything like that. Right, let's do it. So we're going to start off with Google Chat. If we take a look at the curl command here, it's a pretty standard look at what REST looks like. So the URL has resources in it like spaces and messages, and then it's hierarchical. So messages exist within spaces and you can tell by the URL. It's self-descriptive, right? You can read it. Especially having the space ID in there, it means that you don't have to put it as part of the JSON body, because you could put the space in the JSON, but then you wouldn't really be able to understand as much from the URL. And that means the JSON body can just be concerned with the resource being created, not finding where the resource gets created. And the action that you're doing is done as the HTTP method. So like all of the ones on this list, it's a post, and that post is creating something, describing the creation in the URL. Now, if we move over to the response, we can see the response that comes back is itself a resource, an instance of a message, which is kind of nice. It uses a bearer token, which is probably the most standard one that you're going to see. And then the last bit, which is really nice, is you can attach a request ID. And if you attach that same request ID twice, so the same value in there, it will recognize that they're both the same request and not create 2 messages. So if you send it from 2 different places, they won't create 2 messages by accident. The only real knock against it is the fact that I don't think anyone uses Google Chat. I mean, I use it a tiny bit because you have to use it in Google Meet chats and it goes in there. That is literally the only time I've ever used it. It's great, but it doesn't have anything special. It doesn't have anything like the idempotency thing is a little good. I think we're going to go A tier. So now moving on to Telegram. This is probably the most privacy focused one, which is why I find putting the bot token in the URL so strange. Having it in there means it's going to get picked up by logging. It's going to be there when you see the URL. So the idea of just including that authentication in there, and that's the extent of the authentication, is kind of wild to me. Then the other problem that we see versus the Google one we just looked at is the send message in the URL. So this isn't resource focused anymore. It's a verb rather than a noun. And that doesn't really conform to REST very well. It's easy enough to read semantically, which is good, right? You can see it's sending a message and you can tell. But with the same URL, you can have a get or a post request on the same URL for Google. Whereas here, like, this exists just to be posted, right? You can't get send message, I assume. And that made the Google version more predictable. Like here, I don't really know how to get messages, right? From the other one, I just know I would do a get request on the same URL. But here I need to find out, like, is it /get message, /get all messages, /retrieve? It's easy to use, but in terms of restfulness, I guess that makes it an F tier, maybe a C tier. Yeah, let's put it in there for now. I'll see how I feel. Now moving on to Rocket Chat, which is the one that I added in to pad this list out. I assume you haven't heard of it. I hadn't heard of it before this, but it just seems like it's an open source alternative to things like Slack, Teams, and all these other like work-based chat apps. It has the same verb naming issue that we just saw there with Telegram. I find this one far more annoying, even though it's the same instance of the problem. Calling it post message rather than, send message? It's just like, because the HTTP method is already post, I find post message so much more irritating, even though like it is the same problem. Room ID is in the JSON body. I kind of prefer if that was in the URL, but it's already not doing resources, so I understand why it's not. And then the auth is a little strange. It's nothing crazy, I prefer the bearer approach, but there's nothing wrong with the auth approach here. It's not enough to put it in F. I think that's a C tier. Slack, Discord for people who use LinkedIn. I have to confess I'm one of those people. I have posted on LinkedIn, regretfully. By the way, do you know Mr. Beast has a LinkedIn? That blew my mind, the fact that he has LinkedIn. I mean, I guess he's the most LinkedIn guy you've ever met, but like, I don't know, it just shocked me. I don't know. I hate this. I hate this one with a passion. What I will give it, it somewhat works semantically. API chat.postMessage. I can read that, I understand what's happening. That's kind of the only thing I can give it. Same problem of its verbs rather than nouns, and the same annoying thing with Rocket Chat where it's post message as well. Where it's going isn't in the URL, it's in the body, which I don't like. I'd love to have had it in the URL instead. This is just a small thing, but I don't really like how you attach text. I know on Slack you can format things, bold and italics and things like that. I'd much prefer something like content or something like that. As well, something I forgot to point out on Rocket Chat, but I hate having a dot in the URL like that. Like it could be, I don't know why it isn't just chat/post message. If somebody else knows, and there's a good reason for that, but I feel like because it's in the chat aspect of Slack, you could say API/chat. Having a dot in there, I don't know, it doesn't look nice, it breaks things up. But the most annoying thing, the thing that I cannot forgive, is it returns a 200 even if it's an error. So it returns 200 and then inside that tells you that it hasn't worked. The HTTP error codes are there for a reason. They're very helpful. It should return 500 or like 400 if it's that kind of error, but just 200, I hate that. This is an F tier. So now we're looking at WhatsApp, and this one's a little strange because it's using their graph API model that Facebook uses. It's correct for graph style, I think. I mean, I'm not going to tell Facebook how to do graph style. I'm just assuming it is because they invented it, as far as I know. It is compact, but the URL being compact means that the body has to do a lot of the heavy lifting for what's happening here, which I don't love. Yeah, the body has to be much more complicated and do that heavy lifting. I don't want to chuck it in F tier because I hate Slack much more, and this isn't necessarily trying to be RESTful, right? So I'm going to put it in C tier. I'm going to give it a bit of grace. So, Discord. I like how it has content instead of text. The auth isn't, standard, but it's nothing like outlandish, right? Having bot and then the bot token is not what you mostly often see, but I don't hate it. The URL is pretty perfect. I can't fault it, right? You're in channels, you've got the channel ID, and then you've got the messages. I'm totally fine with that. For item potency, it's got a nonce, which if you're from the UK, you're going to find the fact that Discord has a lot of nonces for you. Quite funny. Honestly, kind of standard, nothing crazy. I like a lot about it. That's an easy A, or maybe go A+. I like it a little bit more than the Google one. Twilio Conversations. It isn't exactly a chat product. It's a way of like sending a message to different chat places. Basically, I wanted to include Twilio because I'd heard about how good the Twilio APIs were for other stuff, and I just wanted to have a look. And I gotta say, kind of disappointed. It's not doing anything wrong necessarily, I just hate it. So it generally follows what we want to see, right? It's got nouns in there, conversations instead of channels. That's what you need on Twilio, that's fine. But the capitalization, because it is going to be case sensitive, the fact that it requires a capital C, capital M there, I find incredibly frustrating and annoying for predictability. I guess you know that it's going to always require a capital for whatever you do, but I'm like, I don't know. I just hate it. The point of REST is that, like, I don't know what the point of REST is. I'm not chief rester. Chief snoozer, maybe. Yeah, I feel like part of REST is you want it to be easy to pick up and predictable. Like, you kind of know how it's going to work when you hear they have a REST API. And this is just like, I've not seen this before. And that's a good enough reason, I think, to not like that. The auth is valid. It's a little bit less common, but like, I guess it's okay. I don't have a problem with it. I guess the biggest problem is that the body isn't JSON coded. That's not necessarily like a REST violation. It's not something you really see. It kind of limits what you can do with this endpoint, but I guess if you don't need to do anything else with it, then fine. It's a little, I don't know, like, it's not wrong. Is it wrong? I'm going to say it's wrong. I'm going to decide it's wrong. I don't like it. There is one thing that I really like about this, a real nice touch. That's giving it a lot of leeway here. It returns 201 rather than 200. If you're creating something, 201 is my preferred one, right? 200 is fine. I'm not going to be too harsh, but 201, you love to see it. I'm going to go B. The 201 is doing a lot for me. Really? Okay, onto the Microsoft suite. Not got high hopes for Microsoft, but looking at it, nothing crazy here. Everything we kind of love to see, right? It's got a really easy to read semantic URL. More elements in there than we've seen from any of the ones, but that's not really a problem if that's the way it needs to be structured. I don't have a problem with that. The message is called content, which is a small thing that I like. Not text. Ooh, it does return 201. I like that. I don't like the implication of V 1.0, implying that there's like minor versions two APIs I find kind of strange. It's also a graph API, seemingly, because it's got it in the name, right? But it doesn't have a lot of the problems that the WhatsApp one did. It can be REST and it can be graph. I didn't think I'd be giving Teams S tier, but I kind of have no problem with it. I mean, I'm not seeing anything, man. If you don't agree, sound off in the comments. I'm sure you will. I'm gonna give it the S. I'm gonna do it. So yeah, that's my list. Please let me know in the comments below. I'm sure you probably will. Do I think any are gonna be really controversial? Maybe I was too harsh on Twilio. I think my WhatsApp take is probably not right because I don't know anything about graph APIs really. So you know, maybe you guys have some opinions. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know which one I was definitely wrong about. Expect a lot more from Slack as well. I heard a lot of good things about the Slack API. I guess the documentation's good, and that can do a lot of heavy lifting for a lot of these. Like the Microsoft documentation, not great. But just like it's self-documenting, so it's not a problem. Kind of cheating, but yeah. Thanks.